one.
Hi guys, welcome to another session. I hope everyone on the stream can hear me and see me as well. So if you have, of course, any questions throughout this stream, please put them in the chat. Okay, so today we are going to use two examples from VueJS where we assigned a specific task to a member of staff, and what we are going to look, they finish the task, so kind of it is working, it's all good, but we are going to look into the approach, okay, because there are 1,000 ways how you can resolve the thing, you know, the problem, the task that you are trying to do. And sometimes you can resolve it in one day and, you know, everything works very fine, no problems, or sometimes it takes you 3-4 weeks to resolve exactly the same thing, and then it keeps breaking, okay? So obviously the approach here would be to be as efficient as possible, so you choose the best approach to solve the problem, and that is hard. That's sometimes you can only, you know, spend 2 weeks doing it, and then you realize, oh my God, I'm doing it wrong. So, so hopefully with today's session, we will give you a little bit of light how we do it, okay? And when I say we, I mean Mr. Thomas and myself. So we will have 2 parts. In the first part, Thomas will use one example. I think it's something about some notifications, etc. And he will look into the approach that was taken by our developer, and he will probably say, hey, I would do this or that differently, and explain for what reasons. And then we'll have a break, and after that I'll do the same with another example. Okay, so that's it. We have plenty to cover. So, hi Thomas, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
So you just want me to head into the timeline
then, or
Yeah, exactly. You know, just share your screen, you know, and make sure that it's all set up on the stream. And once you are ready, just kick off, explain what the task was, look how the person resolved it, highlight whatever you think is weird, and then try to explain to us what would you do differently, if anything. Maybe it was perfect, I don't know.
Okay,
sounds good. 1 second.
Jesus
says that I have some echo. How bad is the echo, Jesus?
In
the meantime, let me go to the source code and let's see what we currently have. So we have history.native.view, which is the timeline Jesus worked on. And let's have a look in the app itself.
It's bad. Really bad?
Really bad?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So mute yourself on Skype for me, and I will mute on Skype. So you just have a stream, okay? Maybe it's Skype causing it twice, okay?
Okay. Is this better? Yes. Okay. So let's try that and see how it goes. Andre, you won't hear me anymore, so if you want to go in, let me know. But anyways, let me first send a push notification because I haven't done that yet, so I can't really show the timeline yet. So 1 second. So let's send myself one warning. And no data. All right, so push, and now when we're in the phone, you can see that the notification arrived, And in the timeline, we see the test text and the notification with the warning color. So that works. So let's have a quick look at the code and see how this is done. So as we can see, Vue uses a custom component called app timeline, which has a subcomponent called app timeline item. You'll see this a lot in Vue. Components are really helpful for things that keep repeating. And as you can see here, we're looping over an object called history notifs, to get one notification each time we render one of these components. So let's have a look real quick how these history notifs are received. So we're getting them from local storage, which makes sense. Every time a notification is received, they are stored on the device. If they don't exist, we get an empty array, so at least we have some error handling going on. And then, yeah, so that's where they come from. If we look in the browser and we look at the local storage, we will see that they are actually here. So we only have one notification, but we have all the information we need to make this work. So this is good. It does the job. So as you can see, it's reversed. This is a way, slice turns the object into a new array and then reverses it. So you go to the newest one at the top rather than at the bottom. And then you pass properties to the component. As you can see, this double point is basically letting Vue know this is a property I'm passing down to this component. So he's passing a title, subtitle, data, time, and a variant. And the reason why you use the double point is because everything between quotes is seen as JavaScript. So here you're sending in from the object notif, or from the array notif rather, the title parameter. So this works. So that's good, but let's go and look at the original and see how it used to look like. So as you can see, we used to have a card, and I'm going to set them side by side so we can really compare. So this is the mobile, and this is the original. So we kind of lost like the layout of the original, and it's also unlike the other pages. If we go to, let's say, farms or fields, we can see we have a little header with title in it, right? No matter what page we go to, right? And we don't have that in a notifications timeline. It's kind of like floating on the background without any context. So while the notification timeline works, it's not consistent with the rest of the app, and that's something we want to avoid. So usually what I do is, like I did here, is I keep the original open. I have a repository that's called Ionic template. As you can see, where is it? Ionic VueJS template app, which is the full source. And what I do is I just Ionic serve it in a website or in a web browser, because that allows me to really easily go through it from the browser. I don't need to deal with the emulator or whatnot. And the nice thing is that all of these cards or all of these components often have little sections about them that explain how to use them. Let's go to components, timeline, and you'll see here on the top right, it literally has a button. So if I zoom this out again, if I click on this, it shows me what the code is for this section. So this is where I can get most of my information on how to implement one of these components. The problem is this piece of code is a template to be put inside of a card. As you can see, this is a card, but that's not part of this template. So I have to take that into account if I want to render it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here real quick, and the page we just had, the history notif. And as we can see, we have bcard and so on and so on. So what I'm going to do is, instead of looking here, I'm actually going to go to the full source, to components, to timeline, and see what's going on there, because that's where all of the information will be. So components, timeline, and now timeline basic. So as you can see, in this situation, the app timeline is, unlike here, inside a bcard code with a title basic. That's where this title comes from. So what I can do is I can take this component and bring it over here and put it inside like this template. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move this, the timeline entries, inside this bcard code. I'm going to format real quick. And this part of the code is actually not necessary. It's basically a duplicate. So let's, for now, comment it out. Because this is part of the actual app itself. So if we go back to our emulator now, you'll see we have the card now with the title. So we can change the title to notifications. And we can use translations for that too, but I won't bother going too deep into that right now. So we have our title, we have the layout, and as you can see, it's still not quite the same. This might be because we're not in mobile view, so let's do that real quick and preview this in mobile. And as you can see now, it's looking relatively the same. So there's most likely, like, this is good enough. What I personally would do for consistency's sake with the other pages, as you can see, we have a sub, like a title, which has its own card, is I would do the same here. So instead of having bcard code with a title here, I'd have a top element, because in Vue, you need to have one top element. You cannot have multiple top level elements in a template. If I would do that, let's say I would have a second div here, you'll see it will actually complain. As you see, it should contain exactly one root element. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want to do two things underneath each other, always encapsulate it in one top level element. So what I would do here then is, instead of having the title here, is having a separate card above it, and with the title notifications here. 1 second. And then in this card, 1 second, title, okay. This was a card code. Okay, and let's see for consistency, let's go over here. So we have bcard with a bcard body, a title, and then some buttons and stuff. We don't need those buttons, so let's take one that doesn't have that. So we can just take this part from one of the other pages that has that title, put this here, and replace this with notifications. And clearly it does not work. So I am messing up somewhere, which is great. So let me have a look real quick. Title, notifications. I don't really see straight away what's wrong here, so nope. Is bcard not implemented? No, it is. bcard code. Okay, so while copying, I didn't copy the component. Oh no, it's right here. So what I'm missing here, I'm missing the bcard body, bcard title probably. Yeah. So bcard body, bcard title. And I also have to import them over here in the components. And this should solve the problem. All right, so as we can see now, there's no background on this one. Let's see if I get rid of no body. Still nothing, it's still not happy, I'm still missing something. So let's go back to where I got this from. I got this from farm. Let's see if I forgot anything else. bcard title, bcard body. So I'm sure I missed something. Or I have a typo somewhere. There we go. Yeah, I didn't import bcard. So there we go. So now we have the same layout as the other pages. As we can compare, we go to fields, we have our all fields. And then here in the notifications timeline, we have our header with the margin normal, and then all our notifications will be underneath it inside its own card to keep consistency. I don't know if you have anything to add, Andre, but that's basically how I would approach bringing a component from in the Ionic template that we saw here to our mobile view. Hello, Andre.
So what is the difference? Why? Because you say, with 50 minutes you create these cards. What is the difference?
Difference how? Like mainly, like you want to keep consistency with the team. Let me actually, yeah, I can't unmute myself on Skype or you'll hear me twice. So since we're using a team, you want to use the components of the team as best as possible, because otherwise it will not look correct anymore. And yeah. Also, I can no longer see the chat for some reason. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's back.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's just a question of the person who was developing this took a very long time, to.
I cannot hear you anymore now. 1 second.
Were you saying something?
Like.
Yeah, well, I hear myself twice. So my question is, okay, the person who was developed this for 10, 15 days, okay, and you solve this out in 10 minutes. You just pick up a component, slap the code. So,
yeah.
So can you explain me what is the difference in thinking? What were the problems that this person? Where was this time spent?
Okay.
Where was the approach wrong? What was the missing part, knowledge?
Okay, so I showed how I would adjust it to fix like the differences, but the things I didn't show, and where there's also time that goes into it, is in turning this component, this example, into a usable version with our data. So as we see in this template, we see a repeating app timeline item. So that tells me that every single timeline item should be filled with information that we have. So what I would do is I take one of them. So let me get rid of this one for now. I'll just comment it out and throw it in here. So we do know, okay, we do know when we get to this page and mount it, we declare history notifications as what we get from local storage. So that's where we get our array. So as soon as we have our array, we know, okay, we can have a look in our application and see what is actually there. We can see each notification has its own entry in the array. So that means we can loop over it. So in the code, in Vue, that's very easily done with a v4. So v4 notification in history notifs. So if we do it like this, it's going to show the newest notification at the bottom, right? That makes no sense. We like to see the newest thing at the top. So normally you think, let's just reverse it, which could work, but usually in JavaScript you want to slice with nothing and reverse it because it turns it into a new object and it doesn't alter the original. And the reason we do that, if we alter the original and reverse it and a new notification gets added, that one will be out of order with the rest. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's why you do the slice. You don't alter the original. So far so good. We have, like if we save this, you'll see that instead of our notification, now we have just the one I copied, and we see one, right? So I'm gonna send a second notification so I have more data to work with. So info notification and body test info. So there we go, that one is sent. And now if we go back and we refresh the page, because we don't have live adding of new ones yet. I didn't receive it. Did I not send it to myself? Oh, there it is. It took a second to arrive. Sorry for the very loud noise. So again, let's reload this page. You'll see now we have 2 notifications, but it doesn't have the correct data yet, which is good. We can see them here now too, so I can see what information we have. We have the timestamp, we have the title, and then some data inside of it. So what I can do now is start passing custom information. As we can see, in this example we got from the template, all of these are hard-coded. So we don't need the hard-coded title, so let's replace this title with a variable. And since we're looping with this v4, we're creating every single time the loop passes a new temporary array called notification, which is the single element in history notifications that we are now. So with that in mind, we can use notification.data.title to access this 0 data title. And if I save this, you'll see that the titles actually update instantly. Info notification and test danger notification, which is the correct titles. So after that, we can do the same thing with the subtitle. Instead of subtitle, we'll just use description, I think it's called, or body. So we do the same notification .data.body. Yeah, there we go. Test info, test text. So this is updated now too. Then for the variant, we can do the same thing. We use the type. So notification .data.type. And as you can see, the colors update. And now the time is the hardest one. For time, it gets a bit more complicated because what we get is Unix, a timestamp, right? So I'll use this timestamp to show if we use JavaScript, we can use new date to turn that into an actual time. We can see when this notification was sent, or received rather, but that doesn't tell us the traditional way of like showing when you received a notification is how long ago that notification was. So if I wanted to just show what date it was, I could just do new date in here and then say notification.ts, I think it's called. Timestamp. So notification.timestamp. See, and then we have the date here. Obviously it's not formatted, it looks like terrible, but we don't like that. So what we did is we used a function called calcTime. There's plenty of examples of that online, but basically what it does, it checks in millisecond intervals how long ago something was, and then formats it using a return and a string value. So for practical sake, I'm not going to rewrite that entire function. So, but it boils down to the same thing. You just calcTime and do the timestamp, and there we go. We have 3 minutes and 21 minutes ago. So yeah, and this is a method. That's the advantage of something like Vue. We can use methods in our HTML up top, or our template code, inside props that are declared with a double, what is these called again? Semicolon? I don't know. A colon? I don't know. The English word. And that allows us to calculate something using a variable. Let's say I want to know how many notifications I have and add it here to the title. I could do that. So let's say I want to add a title here, and I want to say calc notifs. I can make a method called calc notifs and return this history notifs.length. Obviously you can do more complex things, and it's going to complain because I forgot that comma here. You can do more complex calculations, but that's the advantage. Here we see we have 2 notifications now. That's the advantage of something like Vue. If I would get a new notification now, this one would jump to 3 and live updates. That's the advantage of Vue. It's two-way binding. If something changes to the variable that is used inside this method, the method will refire and update the HTML at the top. But yeah, that's where most of the time goes into, like adjusting the code so that, or like the template, so that instead of like default data, as in the data we see over here, like that is hard-coded, we use our actual information we get from the API or the backend or whatever. In this case, it's local storage, and display it the way we want to. But in this case, the timeline, the design is pretty much finished as is, so we don't really have to change anything. We just have to format the time stamp into a readable format for humans. But yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, that's cool. Maybe then I can take over and have a first part of my session going on. Just to let you know, Thomas, that because you are muted because of the echo, I can't hear what you are saying. So just send me, just unmute from Skype. Tell me what you need, and then especially if people have any questions along the way. Okay. So let me share my screen right now. If I figured out the share screen button. Okay. Just let me know, Skype, if you see my screen and if you hear me well, so then I can just kick off.
Yeah, I can see you and hear you well, so go for it.
Okay, so basically this task was about having a list of actions. So it's another list, just like Thomas was showing, like a timeline before, but slightly more complex. The reasons why it's complex, because each one of these items that you can see on simulator is actually clickable. And what it does, it opens a sidebar with the more details, okay? So if I click on this answer support tickets, it opens this sidebar that you would just see here and says this is the title and this is the person it's assigned to, this is the description. If I click somewhere else and then click on this one, then it will open the sidebar with that specific task and so on. So that's the component, that's the page, let's call it, or little application within a Vue. And what I want to show you is two things, okay? So first I want to show you the original one and the changes that were made, okay? So let me show you here. So this is original to do. I have 5 files, and then I have these files which are what our developer did here. Okay, so the same number of files. When you navigate in your mobile application to this page, what happens is, go back to simulate, go away Skype, sorry. So we have this navigation menu. Okay, so I have original to do and I have actions. So this is the actions, and this is, oops, something's happening. This is original to do here, hopefully. What I also did, I connected this inspect element so I can see if there are any errors going on, and there are quite a few on this page, so that's an interesting one. So it's not showing anything original to do, doesn't exist, actions exists. Okay, so this is actions original. Let me have a quick view. Where is this? If I go to source router index, so this one should be DDD to do. So actions origin, so this is the link. So what I can do here just is actions origin. Okay, well, here they are. Okay, so what I do first, okay, before I do any programming, okay, before I try to understand how this works, okay, so I'm looking at the original actions, all right, and I play with it. I'll click a few things just as I did, click on this item, click on this item, and then I try to see what is going on. And this is one which is quite complex, okay? So this is my to-do view. This is the one that loads first, and this is HTML, okay? And theoretically, if I disable these, I should see them changing, okay? So this is my sidebar, okay? And what Thomas was explaining a second ago, in my to-do view, this sidebar has a couple of these properties, okay? So this is what is interesting to me. But then I want to see how this changed in the version that our developer did. So let me find the to-do left sidebar. So see, it's quite changed, okay? So, and I don't understand exactly what is this doing just by looking at it for the first time, or what is that doing, okay? And how did you get from this to that? that's what I don't understand. I see this code for the first time, and of course, I don't understand how it works. I can look in the script as well, and I can see the script part is quite similar. It has few additional things here. To do left sidebar, to do left sidebar, to do store module, task handler sidebar, and toastification content. Okay, so this one has toastification. This new one, this old one doesn't have this toastification. All right, but toast, I guess, would be that little thing which pops up every now and then when something happens. So export similar, and then it's interesting because this code starts here with the setup function, and this one has some data. Okay. And I'm like, okay, hold on, what's going on? Why does this one have a data? Okay, don't know yet. Okay, then it has computed search actions. Okay, so this is for search, fine. And here's my setup. Okay, so obviously this is added by our developer. This looks quite similar, what I notice here is a function called fetch tasks, okay? Because obviously in both cases you want to fetch tasks, get the list of the tasks. Okay, so options, same, sort by what is the value, and if it changes, sort by this, sort by that, so there's no change in functionality there. And then I have this blank task. Okay, and this one is quite changed, as you can see, because obviously in examples that we get like this one, we will have a certain task values, but in a real life we need to add the fields that we have, that we need, such as primary action, secondary action, and so on, so we can see that those are added here. One thing what I will spend a little bit more time is this assignee, okay, because here I have 4 things about assignee, and here I have 1 thing about the assignee. So we'll look into that in a second. Okay, so single task is of this blank task that we had defined. Clear task data is this one here. And here I have some functions, basically, is that I can add, remove, or update the tasks. So this is the original code that I can add a new task, I can remove the task, and update the task. And this is where it surprises me quite a lot, is the developer decided not to have that. Okay, so this was not working for some reason. So when I look at this approach, what is the difference, first of all, is that this either didn't work or the approach was different than what we would expect to be. So we'll come back to that in a second. Okay, so now this is tags. Okay. Tags in this case are empty array. We'll come to why this is that. This is the color of the tags, okay, which I don't see here. And this is something about avatar, which also is not here. Find, search, fetch tasks. So this is again the original. And in the original, fetch task is a function which just has hard-coded values that you see on the screens. Okay, so fine. I'll just skip this hard-coded one for the time being. There's the function fetch tasks. Okay. And then I have few others here. Okay, script. And this one ends. And now it says, when it's loaded, get tasks. Okay. So why is this one, when it's loaded, getting tasks, and this one isn't? That's an interesting one. Okay, show toast is fine, and get tasks is a function which basically makes the API call at some point through this API service, and then assigns the values. But again, I'm a little bit confused. Why are we assigning all these values? But we'll come back to that, okay? Add new task function, okay? As you can see, I had here add task like that, and this is like this, okay? Because at some point it's calling this API service function add tasks, which in theory you could have put here. Added tasks, same thing, okay? I don't even have a function added task, okay? Delete task, again, that's our remove task, and few others is completed because it doesn't seem that this example at all have these filters and toggles in this script, so they are added there. All right. So when I look at this, I spend a little bit of time understanding what this code is supposed to do. Okay. So what does it do? Okay. If I click on Meet Jane, it goes and says Meet Jane and says Benjamin Jacobs. Okay. So where is this? This is a drop down when I say Jane and click Update. Okay. And click here. See, it doesn't work. So Sandy Vega, I update, click Benjamin Jacobs. So basically this code looks lovely, but it doesn't do. It's not a finished code. This is a problem. So when I look at this approach, how would I do this? I need to make sure that this is updating my my list, and that when I go back, that this thing will, let's say, okay, try this test. All right, fine, update. Yep. So it does not do anything. Okay. So let's have a look at that part and try to understand again how does it work and why it doesn't do anything, okay? So to do task handler, as you can see, I have few other things. So this to do doesn't have this sidebar, left sidebar, okay? So the sidebar is kind of imported. That's what I figured here, but I don't have the code. Test sidebar, here it is. Okay, so this is my HTML for the sidebar, okay? And here's the one which is changed. Okay, so I can see these two together, all right? So that's our task, blah, 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 HTML, okay, and script. Task filters, return, very, very simple, okay? So when I look at this, there is not a lot of things going on here in this code to do left sidebar view. I just see HTML, okay? I have these components buttons, and then I will say click, then it does that. And it does that, all right? So this is an add task, okay. Primary block click emit. Where is this here? B button. Div class add task. Div class add task. Filter tasks. Don't even see it. But this, what I'm just showing right now, is this left one on this side here. Okay, and stop. Okay, go back to simulator because you can't click on the inspector, Andre. So this is this add task button. Okay. And in our version, we remove this button and put it above. So that's why it's missing here in to-do left sidebar. So this button, add task, that I see here, we took it out because that is a very useful thing to have. So I think we added it either straight away here. Add action. So this is the button. Okay. However, it's an interesting one because when I compare the code, B button, vrepl something suppem, variant primary, block, style margin top. Okay, so something had to be moved in this case. And then I have a click button. Now, it's very interesting that this click button is working differently than this click button, okay? And this is, for me, confusing, okay? So I have this code, which obviously work fine, and then I have this code here, which was changed, okay? So add click, is task handler sidebar active equals true. Okay. Is task handle sidebar active? True. So this looks same, but it's different. So for me, it's very hard to understand what is this original code doing, and what is this code on the right doing in order for these two things to appear, disappear. So basically, when I click this add task here, boom, up. I am still clicking on the thing, add task. Basically, it has to close this left bar and then open this right bar. Okay. But in the same way, if I click on any tasks here, it kind of has to open this right bar, okay? And it has to open it with the correct data, okay? So if I click add task here, it opens it with the empty one. And if I click here, it opens it with the data that is related to the task I clicked upon, okay? So, emit is task handler sidebar active true, okay? And click is task handler sidebar active equals true, okay? So basically this displays, as I figure out, the taskbar on the right. And this one, of course, has to close the left sidebar because we don't need it anymore. And in this case, that's not needed, okay? So is task handler, okay. So let's look at this task handler sidebar. All right. So here it is. This is a sidebar. It has some icons, and it has a form, and then it says, okay, enter your title. All right, so this is the title of the form. Icons, validation, be form, validation provider, input, okay? So this is the title, this is the title, okay? So as far as I can see, these are completely and utterly identical, okay? So the title on this one, the title on this one works fine, okay? So that makes sense. Now, this is assignee, okay? This is the thing that I said we will look into a little bit more, just to see what is going on here. So this is assignee, this is assignee, all right? So label, assignee, assignee, and then we have this VSelect, all right? VSelect. So this is basically our dropdown. And here I have a thing called VModel, direction right to left or left to right if it's Arabic. So that's the same. Options, assignee options, okay. Label full name, class assignee selector, input ID assignee. Okay, so this is slightly different. All right. Then I have this template, which is avatar and full name. So I have a little picture, which comes from, in this case, from our server. And then I am entering full name, okay? Selected options, avatar full name, tags, all right. Full name, template, we select before groom, okay? So this is, the whole thing is assignee, all right? So I understand this is displaying the assignee. So when I click on this guy, not here, and when I click on this guy here, then, oh, stop clicking on a bloody, so that's that part, Curtis. And if I click on it, then I can select somebody else. So I have this full list of options. But this is what I'm curious about. Where are these options coming from, and how does it know which one is selected, which one to highlight? Okay, so let's look at this code later on. Okay, so model is tasks I handle active. All right, that's an interesting one. Okay, same thing. Is I handle active, and then there is event is tasks handle light active. Okay, so if I remember rightly, when I click on this button, this thing changes, and then this one either appears or disappears, okay? So if this handle active boolean required is true, okay, fine. So that's something to do with this handling, is it open or closed? I understand that bit, not exactly how it works, but I understand it, okay? So then I have the task, which is an object. So I definitely need a task in order to display the task, so required is true, fine. Clear task data is a function required true. What's a clear task data? Let's just jump into it quickly. Do I see clear task somewhere? Aha, maybe is this reset? Nope. Don't know what that one does yet, so we'll have a look at that too. So as you can see, I'm not doing any programming yet. I'm just reading the code and kind of trying to connect the two things together. So nothing yet is programmed, okay? Data. So some function which returns required email URL. And this one returns required email URL, but also 6 other things, all right? Selected assignee, I assume, but this one doesn't return selected assignee. computed gets. Ooh, so now this is getting weird. Okay, because this now has quite a few differences. So on the setup says goes a task local, reset task local, assignee options or submit, use task handler. What the hell is this? Okay. And this thing, form validation, constant edit options, cool, write your description, placeholder. Okay. Where are those here? Select assignee, select pages, set field options, assignee options. I don't see these. Oh, there they are. Editor. There's the validation. And this is the task handler function. So they exist. So what is all this here? Quite a lot of code, but maybe what I'm thinking, this is the code that was missing, okay? Because we saw that it wasn't updating anything when I was clicking, so probably that's the thing. Okay, so after all this code, let's see what else do I have. Return that. Task local submit assignee options I have here, but here I don't have assignee options. That's an interesting one. Okay. Methods show toast. Toggle is completed. Okay. Some CSS and so on. Okay. So I still don't know what happens when I click on this drop down and how is drop down populated. Just again to remind you what I was kind of looking at is how do I know this is Jacob? Okay, how is Jacob selected and not anyone else on this list? You know, so if I click on this one, why is Curtis selected and not anyone else? I don't see that here right now. But I did see that they are using this use task handler. So let's look at what this one does. Okay. Task local, props task value, reset props task value, console log ester, and watch reset console log ester. Okay. And then this is on submit. So so on submit, so this is when I click submit button, which is great. Okay, so it gets some JSON from this task local. Fine. If there is ID, emit update task, and in this case is edit task. So I don't know why these are renamed. This one says with task value ID, and this one does data value, which will have ID, I guess. Else emit add task value. Aha. So if we have ID, then it's updating existing task. But if I don't have ID, then it means it's a new task. So calls a different function, update task or edit task. In this case is edit task or add task, okay? And then closes sidebar in both cases, okay? So let's look at this. What I have here on the left is assignee options. okay, and these are all the options of the drop-down, and here I don't have those assignee options because they are obviously hard-coded. What I want to achieve here would be obviously get these people and their avatars from the server. So no wonders they are commented out. Resolve avatar variant if tags include high, video, low. Okay, these are the colors of this thing at the bottom. So if I go to this thing, it's this medium is green, and if I do low, it should be different color, but for some reason this doesn't work properly because these are all the same color, which is premium color. Okay, so find tag options, Now the tag options as well, we decided that we will make them programmatical, so you don't have to have these ones team low, high, medium, so that's why we commented those out. Okay. Return task locale, reset task locale, resolve avatar variant, and on submit. Okay, save. There's a little dot there. So where is this going? I still don't understand how this code works. Okay, because I've been reading this for last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I still don't understand how the code works. Where is the function where I click on my thingy, okay, update? Where is this function taking me? Okay, where is the update code in this side or that side? I don't understand that. Okay, I understand that it emits something, either update task or add task, and here in this side emits edit task or add task if there is on submit, okay? But how is this connected to button? I don't understand right now. Okay, so this is not the left sidebar. I don't care about left sidebar. I care about this one, okay? So, form actions, okay? This is type submit. This is a B button. All right, so let's look at this guy. Okay, form actions. So variant primary, this is color, type submit, brilliant, and then task local and task local ID, update, add. Okay. So this is asking if you have ID, then do update. Otherwise, do add. This is an if, shortened if, okay? I understand this. This one says task local. I guess first it checks does it exist. First of all, add it has ID, then update. Otherwise, it's add. Why? I don't know. Okay. But where is this update and add? Still don't get it, okay? Let's try to search for update. Okay. Update. So it's not in here. Okay, fine. What else do I have? So I have task handler sidebar, and I have used task handler, and I have this to-do store module. So what's this to-do store module? Huh. to-do store module. So say I'm still reading, I'm still trying to figure out how this whole thing is working, and I still haven't come to that conclusion, okay? And you guys are reading with me, maybe getting annoyed, maybe you have a question, so, you know, Thomas, please do interrupt me if there are any, you know, so, okay. So here are actions, fetch tasks, add tasks, okay, great, update and remove, all right? And I can see here that if I'm adding or updating task that is calling Axios, okay, which is HTTP request, but sometimes it has problems on mobile phones and local development with those cores, so that's why I don't like to use it, so I use a different one. I use a native one instead, HTTP request in these mobile applications. So I can see that it's kind of posting something, all right? And then gets, yeah, but this one, nothing. Ooh. Doesn't even have that. Okay, so it's definitely not processing these fetch task, add task here. And then you say post apps to do task ID the task. Okay, so it's kind of making the request. But where is this request going in our application? I haven't got a clue. All right, still. All right, so in the original, I don't have a clue where it's going. Now, it's interesting to know that this VueJS that we are using, which is in this case demo theme, it's not going to be connected to any backend. Okay, so what they did typically in this example is either there's no functionality, so when you click it doesn't send it, or as an option it has another option which is to simulate the backend request. So it's a fake request to the backend, so it gets some sort of response when this happens. But in our case, when we are implementing this code, we definitely need to have that action. So where is these functions? Okay. Did see quite a few things. So let's find, does this have something called update? Update task is the added task. Okay, added task. Oh, okay. So here's the added task, all right? So it says this root options API service added task. Okay, what is API service? So these are views. There is an API service. Okay, and I will move it on this side because this is where it should be. Okay, so edit task. Here it is, okay? So it says go make HTTP request, method post, URL is task, these are the headers, okay? And then there is a data. Task is ID, and user ID is this user ID function. Token is this API token, and this is this. Okay, this makes, again, no sense to me. All right. Delete task. Toggle completed. The reason why it makes... so if I'm adding a task, this is the same one. I have data user ID, okay, which is user ID. API token. I kind of want to send data from the task itself. So I don't see where is this sending the data from the task? Where is it uploading the data? And how is this connected? So it's very, very, very confusing to me. Why is it this done in so many steps, ways, etc.? Left sidebar, I don't care. Task handler. Okay, let's have another look. Select assignee. New value. Selected tags. Assignee options. Very weird. So what I will do now is I will make a little bit of break, of course, because we do need a little break. But see, there are a few questions which I still don't understand, okay? I understand, even from Thomas's example, I fetch the tasks and it displays the tasks, okay? But what I fail to understand is, when I do that, how the hell does it know which one is highlighted, okay? And then when I update the task, when I click update the task, okay, so fine, go away keyboard. When I click this update button, okay, how is it connected and how does it send a request and how does it send all this data back to the server? That's kind of two things what I don't understand in either of these left and right methods, okay? So I'm trying to figure out how these people did it and then verify is the person who actually implemented that doing it well. So those are the two questions that I hope I will answer to the end of this call. So let's have a 3-minute break, and after that we'll come back to it. All right? Just before the break, we had the two questions that we wanted to kind of understand how it works. One was, how the hell does it know which one to highlight in the drop-down? And the second one is how to actually submit this data, all right? So I'll have a look at those two right now. So first is that the data that is displayed inside our mobile application here, entire change break. Okay, so that's the task. So that's this one, entire change break. Okay, and assignee full name is Jacob Ramirez. Okay, so when I click on this, it says Jacob Ramirez. All right, fine. So what happens if I change this and put that? Okay, so what happens if I change something? All right, so far, as you can see, I haven't changed a single thing inside the application, and now, in order to find these things, I started making changes. Okay, so I will just go to this guy, okay, and reload this. All right. All right. So where are we? Okay. Click on this, Andrew Anderson. Okay. Obviously, the icon is still the same. All right. But the selected person is changed. Okay. So the assignee is this. Okay. And if I put testing on, okay, what happens now? I click on it, it's that. All right? So basically, assignee in this field is whatever I type. All right? It's not even what the hell I selected. Okay? So none of these people here. Okay? So it's not that this has anything to do with the drop down as far as I can see. Okay? So whatever I type here in assignee, that is the value that is going to be displayed here. Okay? Which is fine. That's handy. That I can select whichever I want. Okay. But then the problem is, all right, fine, I can obviously change the avatar to update the picture. I'll have 0 avatar if I don't want. But how do I actually manage these people for real? You know, when I send, okay, I say this is Donna, okay, and I click update, boom, nothing happens here, right? So that's the problem that I have to come up with some sort of solution and understand how it works, okay? So we had this to-do store module, which is this add task or update the task, okay? So what I'm going to do is good old console log. And first things first, I'm going to add these where I am kind of console logs, okay, in task. All right, brilliant. So that's there. Okay, this is the emulator, and then I should have this inspector. Okay, and let's clear this stuff. So I click on this. Okay, and I change to Donna, and I click update. Okay, boom, boom, boom. None of this works at all. Okay, because it says here up to do update task unknown action type. Error in callback value, tab index undefined. What the hell? None of these things seem to be working properly. So it's not even doing the console log, it's breaking, all right? And if I'm trying to understand how this works and the code doesn't work, okay, then it's going to be much harder for me to understand in the first place how to implement this properly and how to make sure that this thing, I learn something from it, okay? So let me refresh the page, okay? So as soon as I load the page, it complains that root with name original to do, apps to do, tag, apps to do, tag do not exist, okay? So there are missing roots in our router. And I click on this thing here. As soon as I click on it, error in callback for watcher value. Tab index undefined, all right? So it's in flat pick, cannot send a property of undefined, okay? So I'm like, okay, I am stuck. I can't get this to work, so fine. Okay, let's see the other page. Okay, so if I go to actions, okay, so this is another one which is an interesting one because it's empty. Let's reload actions original. Missing required prop icon. Okay, that's the error. Selected task. Okay, so I have selected task, selected F. What the hell are all these things? And these are empty. So all of these empty, okay? Because I shouldn't have any selected icons, selected tasks. But isn't this supposed to fetch the tasks? URL is not defined in API service. Okay, so what is the URL in the API service? So see, sometimes when you look at the codes, and this is actually, sometimes it's extremely, okay, get tasks. URL is URL plus get tasks. And constant URL is this thing which is not defined. So because it's commented out in this case. So let me put the URL to what it's supposed to be. Okay. And let's go back to my code. Wow. Okay. So at least I have the actions now from the server. Let's look at this thing. Okay. So request was successful, which is great. And get animus images avatar. It seems like one avatar is missing, probably this one here, which is all right. Okay, I don't care about one picture. It's probably just missing there. So I click on this. All right. Now it's assigned to me. Okay. But in this case, what we have is a proper list. So if I click Sam, okay, I can still straight away saying, okay, something happened, and I will click update, boom, boom, boom. Results, request, connection exception. Something is not right yet. Okay. So as what you can see right now, right here, is that what I selected was Sam, in this case. It haven't updated the few things that I just showed, but somehow it knows it's Sam. Okay, because when I click here, it's this one. Let me try one more. Okay, so this one, I click there, I close this, and it's Andre. Oh, this one is Sam as well. So Sam is always highlighted. Get diesel. Boom. Okay. Missing icon, selected tasks, and so on. So, well, it kind of works. It also doesn't work. Okay. So, when I look at this approach from the point of approach, okay, so what is going on in the first one? What is going on in the second time? You know, none of these seem to be working properly the way that you expect them to work, okay? So I can't go here and change the person, you know. If I say, okay, this is update, okay, let's try something simpler. Okay, let's try. What the hell happened here? Did I just copy paste something? Okay.
Esther says that you're not using the latest version, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not using the latest version because she fixed this, yes, but I'm deliberately not using the latest version because this is a version that I had picked up a couple of weeks ago, and I'm trying to make sense, understanding what the original team developer created and what our developer created before it's all nice and fine and working and so on. So, good thing is that when I updated the title, that worked. Okay, so or did it? No. What the hell is this? Okay, test 1, 2, 3. Okay, it says test 1, 2, 3. I click update. And it doesn't update this thing here. What does it say here? Selected task, test field is completed, title. Okay, so I don't know what is get title. It has some title handler, set title. Selected as primary, secondary, assignee, and selected, I guess, farm or field. These are those ones. So none of these have anything to do with my title itself. Okay? So, again, I'm not touching anything. I'm just thinking, okay, surely how the hell does this work? Okay? Because I don't understand why the original code is not working. Maybe it's missing some stuff like links, etc. And how to make it work. Okay, so how to make this stuff work. Okay, not easy at all. Oops, I didn't want that. Let me kill all these. Okay, to-do view. Okay, and this was, what was the URL? Original to-do, show me console. This is a wrong think original to do doesn't exist because it was called something else. Actions origin. Okay. Okay, so at least I got this bit here. So even with all these errors, okay, I got in update task. Okay, that's a brilliant thing. Okay, so I can actually show what I wanted to show. Okay, so I have a thing called task. Okay, and it says Axios post apps to do tasks $tasks ID, which if I look at here is that apps to do task/1, but that URL of course does not exist. Okay, so that's posting, and it's posting this thing called task. Okay, so can I do that? All right, let's have a look. Go back to simulator, click on there, and then just say something there. Okay, and then I will show you the inspector, and I will clear this, and I will click update. Okay. Very interesting. Because now it's not even showing that message that I just had a second ago. So we were back where we were. Unknown action up to do update task. Cannot read properly then of undefined. Property then. Okay. Let's try to fix this. So it says store dispatch up to do update task data. Okay. So can I console log here? Probably not, but let's try it. I never know, do I need these semicolons or not at the end of this, guys, in JavaScript. Okay. Let's have a look. Clear this. Okay. So I click on this guy. It's complaining about something, and I change something here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and close this and click update. Okay. So in update task. Okay. Did I call these two the same in update task? That would be also stupid because then I don't know where they're coming from. Okay, so this one should give me a task. Okay. Okay, I'll add task data. Okay. All right. Clear that. Show me this. Click there. Okay. As soon as I open it, I get some error. Type something. Let's also change this person and click update. Okay, it's complaining. All right. But here's the thing. All right. In update task data, so that bit worked. Okay. And then I look at task data. It actually has this 321 that I entered. Okay, and it has a different full name assignee. So this is Donna Frank. I think this is the one that I selected. So basically this code, it looks like what it's called that it gives me back the information that I expected to do. So let's try this one more time, but something more sensible. Okay, so I'll click on it. One more time. Okay, I'll just change the title to something completely visible. So test 1, 2, 3, and then I select Jane. So in this thing, I should have test 1, 2, 3, and then assignee somewhere, wherever it says full name or whatever. Can I open this? No, assignee is here, Donna Frank. So this should say Jane. Test 1, 2, 3, and Jane. So let's click update. Okay, so here it is. So Jane, brilliant. Where's my test 1, 2, 3? Oh, here it is. So title is test 1, 2, 3, and the assignee is Jane, as I would expect, because that's what I selected from it. So when I look at this code that says update task in original data, I have console log update task data, so which is brilliant. Okay, so I have all the task data that I need in order for this code to work. Okay, so what I need to do here, obviously, instead of store dispatch task data and refresh, because this doesn't work, obviously, because it's complaining about that, I need to do two things. So I need to call our API, and I probably need to update the list. Okay, so once I call our API, I need to probably reload the list in order for this to work without the errors. Okay, so calling the API shouldn't be a problem because that API is already there. And it was in that API module, which I think I closed. So let's find the API service. Here it is. Okay. And get fields, get field, get weather, get home, get task, edit task. So it should be this one here. Okay. So basically with this I can do this is the edit task. This is the one that I want to call, and of course I think I probably need also to put the data when I call this edit task async method. So where is this called edit task in the to do? Okay, let's try to find out how that's called so I can do it. Okay. Oh, API service, edit task. Now I have to find it. Oh, not original to do. Not here. This is field options, any options. Store module. This is get tasks. Add new task, edit task. Okay. So basically it's that. That is what I am looking for. So if I go to my code that I'm doing here, call our API should do that. Okay. I probably have to reference this in this to do compared to this one here. It's not that one. API service, let's find it how it's imported. API service, API service, API service. Okay. Maybe I don't even have to do it. Okay. Let's see what happens. Cannot read property root of undefined, cannot read property root of undefined. So it has this, but I don't know what root is here. Okay, because again, you know, as you can see, my approach is just to try to copy paste some code from somewhere else, which calls some API service, but I don't understand how it works. Okay, so I just copied the random part of the code, and I just keep getting these errors. You know, so my point here that I want to make is that I am not doing this properly. My approach is not proper still. Okay, so update task. Okay, get some task data. I have the correct task data. Now I have to call this service. Okay, and this service is my API service, which is here, which is something that I probably need to import somewhere. So where are my imports then?
I might be able to hook in here.
Yeah, sure.
The API service, the reason we can use it anywhere in Vue is because we import it as Vue gets mounted to the app. So if you go to main.js, you'll see here, import API service. And then all the way at the bottom, you'll see new API service added to Vue. So you cannot use it in .js files because .js is not Vue. Those are just JavaScript files that are used inside that component, but you can use that this root anywhere in the .vue files. So if you want to use it in a .js file, you have to import it there locally and declare it as a new service. I'll let you continue.
Yeah, but that's fine, because then why can't I use it here? Why is this root options API service here not play? So can I use just API service like that?
No, like I said, because this is a .js file, it is not part of Vue itself. It's loaded.
This is a Vue file.
Oh, this is Vue. This root options API service. I think this is because you're inside a function and the dis is not clear what dis it is. The scope might be an issue. So you're probably using dis as the scope
but
update task.
It's complaining about root.
Yeah, because root doesn't exist in that local scope of that function.
Yeah.
So yeah, that way the solution to that is either pass the global dis from Vue into the function, or call the API service differently by importing it directly.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying in the first place. I'm trying to import something which I don't know how it was envisaged to work in the first place, and then even if now Thomas told us how it was envisaged to work, because it's loaded in the main JS, okay, as you can see, it's imported in the first file that's loaded in the first JavaScript, and then we have API service in the Vue component, main Vue component. This function here, when it says this, okay, it depends what this refers to, because that's the thing called scope, okay? And the problem I have with this scope is that inside the function, the scope changes, because we know that this refers always to itself, okay? And if I'm outside of the function and I type this, and this and this are not referring to the same thing, okay? That's the problem. So if I'm saying call the API service, okay, it's not going to call the API service, okay, because it can't call the API service because this doesn't work. How do I know this doesn't work? Because I can say, what the hell is this? Okay, I can console log this and see what I have here, okay? So let me just clear this, okay? Go to my little simulator, edit that, okay, and then just types whatever I want, it doesn't matter, and I click update, okay? This is undefined, okay? It doesn't have any reference to this. That's what Thomas, I think, mentioned, is you need to pass that to this function, a reference to this, or import it yourself, and so on, okay? But this is, again, what I'm illustrating, okay, in this lesson, is that I'm trying desperately to make this shit work, okay, this code work. We all know what it is supposed to do on this call. I'm desperately trying to make it work, but I can't, okay, because I don't understand still what every single part of this code is working, how is it working, where it is, okay? So I am not going to be able to call this API call, okay, because I need to keep understanding better and better how this whole thing is supposed to work. Once I understand how it works, then I can program it without any problems. But before I fully understand, I can't program it. And this is where we have a huge number of issues, okay? And then I take a long time, okay? But here is the key thing what I want you guys to take away from this, okay? You are going to take a long time anyway when you start this for the first time. anyway is going to take you a long time. So this seems like a easy little thing, which should be very simple to do. However, it isn't easy. It's going to take a long time. All right. But here's the choice that you have to make, okay? Either learn it properly, and then the second time is not going to take a long time because you understand exactly how it works, or just try to fix this issue, okay? Because right now I can call Thomas and say, how would you do this? And Thomas can just type, 3 lines of code, import this, import that, and I will copy paste, and I will somehow manage to make it work. But that's not the issue, okay? The issue is that I have to understand how this thing works, okay? And that takes time. So far, it took an hour and a half of you guys listening to me what I'm trying to do, okay? And I have everything kind of working, okay? It's pre-programmed for me. I have this whole thing. I didn't have to create this list and so on. And I still don't understand how it works, okay? Because this is what you have to do is spend 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours trying to figure out how the hell this works, okay? And then keep asking the questions why, okay? Because one thing what I know from PHP is like, okay, I can define functions, okay, in many ways. But why the fuck is this a constant? That makes no sense to me, okay? And where is these constants defined? They are defined in the setup function, okay? And when is this setup function defined, well, it has something called store, okay, so I can see what the hell is a store? Store register module. What is to do up module, okay? What is store? There is a router, okay, there is a constant router, there is a thing called task, there is a sort by, okay, there are blank tasks, there is a task, clear, and then these are like a function constants, okay? So why does Vue have this type of, or JavaScript, these kind of value constants function thingies? I don't know. Right now, I don't know. I have to answer these questions to myself, okay? Because once I answer the questions, once I understand how they work, okay, then I can actually program this easily. Before I understand how it works, I can't do that. And then why the hell inside of all these constants there is this call to the function fetch task, which is this one here? Very, very, very weird stuff, okay? So if I ask Thomas, this question, how is he doing this, okay? So he had to figure out every single thing that I just asked right now. And if you want to know as much as Thomas does for this, then we have to follow his process. So I know it's a bit of echo if Thomas jumps on Skype right now, but we'll try it anyway, and we have a couple of minutes left, so I want just to wrap up with it, okay? So let's learn one of these things. So Thomas, if you're online, maybe unmute and...
Yeah, sure, I'm here.
Yeah. So why is it a constant? Do you know off the top of your head?
I'm assuming, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's so that the function cannot be overwritten at any other point, because these are static functions that are not supposed to change.
Okay, and then it has inside of this constant, I have this store. Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you know what the store is?
Yes. So let me mute myself on Skype so there's no echo. Okay, well, fuck. Anyways, so as we know, store is the persistent storage for Vuex. And when you commit to the store or do anything with the store, it updates it, and it's kind of like local storage that we're used to from a regular web browser. It just is a little bit more intelligent. You can do a little bit more things with it. You can use functions in certain stores as well. You can write your own. It's a very complex thing, but you can use it for basic stuff too. Too much to get into.
Okay, so there is a whole thing behind the store, but let's say, what the hell is store? Okay, so it seems like it's a good question, okay, because, so let's try this, okay, so I go there, I go to my inspect here, clear that, go to the this guy, click here, okay, change something, okay, click update, okay, store, okay, here's store. Oh my god, no idea what this is, okay. Getters, up current breakpoint, get, oh my god, dispatch, arguments, caller, prototype, commit, bound, prototype, scope, modules, you know, so when he says it's a complicated thing, it definitely is. Refs, proto object, what the hell are all these? So how do I know when he calls store dispatch, okay, what else? Router replace, this goes to the router, so, okay, yes?
All right, so let's have a look at the store dispatch real quick.
Okay.
So store dispatch, the first part after the dispatch is a string. So it says app attached to do / add task. Now on the left side in our Explorer, we see a folder called store. Can you open that one for me?
Which one?
The store folder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now we can see that here in the Vuex store, we see app. So inside the app folder, where we importing from, index.js, you see we have a few things. We have the current breakpoint, which is that getter you saw to get the breakpoint of this device. And in app config, you have an index as well, blah, blah, blah. And these are basically states of the device. And then we have an auth module, which is the one I wrote to handle the logging in and logging out of the users. Basically, the store handles altering data. And inside the store, we see these actions, so like login, which is what you would dispatch to, where we can do certain functions and then we can commit, as you can see in line 13 and line 17. Committing executes a function with a result of whatever happened. So if we scroll down, yeah, so when we scroll down and we see login success, this is a commit. So as you can see, when the commit happens from login success, the user status in the store gets set to true, and the user in the store gets set to the user object we passed with the dispatch.
Aha. So I don't know, guys. This is I know we are over 4 o'clock, so I'll finish in 3 minutes. But this is very important, okay? And I want to keep this auth module, so just to remember it. So I asked myself, I try to understand what store is, okay? And then I asked, I could have read the documentation, I could have read the YouTube video, I can chat with Thomas and he can explain to me what the store is. So he shows me there is this store folder, which I didn't know about, and then inside of that Thomas wrote these things, where is it? Oh my God, I closed it now. I think it was this one. Yeah, this auth module. So now, from the point of approach, I have additional option, which I didn't know. Okay, because if he wrote a function login and logout, okay, and he calls the authorization service, okay, now I can here import my API service and call the function get me, update task. Okay? So before this, I didn't have any clue that this option exists. Okay? So I was trying to copy paste something which didn't work, and I didn't understand even why it didn't work. Okay? But that seemed to be the only option for me. Okay? But if I put effort to understand what these things are, okay, in 1 hour or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I learned some shit, okay? I didn't learn enough. I still need to keep learning, okay? But this is definitely something, okay, that I can actually use in order to implement this program. So when I'm looking at this approach, okay, when I see the program made by our developer, okay, and the approach that the developer took, I don't know, did this developer have all the ideas of all the possibilities, what is available and what is not available, and does this developer understand the whole value of possibilities? I certainly don't. Okay, so when I look the example, okay, and I see that they are using this store dispatch, okay, and obviously now I understand why this store dispatch didn't work, because there is no function called, there is a function called login and logout and stuff like that, but there is no function that. So I can write that function in that store, okay, and just use this code, okay? So once I learn how it works, how the existing code works, once I really understand it, then this starts making sense. And it's much easier to apply the correct approach, and the easiest approach to achieve the goals that we set up at the beginning of this task is to be efficient, to develop quickly, and not to have many errors, and later issues, all right? So in order to do that, the key thing is understanding. And understanding takes a long time, hours, days. But this is what you must apply first in order to be able to even ask the right questions. I didn't know I need to ask a question about what the hell is store at the beginning of this course. Now I learned because I spent time understanding. Okay? And this is every time when you guys come to me and ask me, hey, Andrei, what is this? Why is this? How do I fix this problem? I don't reply with the answer directly, say, this is the answer. I try to get you to understand what the problem is. Okay? And if you don't tell me why are you using constants, why are you using this, why are you using that, then you don't understand and you can't actually solve this problem. So please, 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 please look at the code you are writing right now. Look at the one page, one of these, that whatever you are working on, look at it right now. Start from the top to the bottom. Okay, start from the top to the bottom and say to yourself, do I understand, do I know what this means or not? Okay? And then just write down how many of these you understand, how many you don't. And you will get to the percentage. I understand 10 and I don't understand 20. Okay? So you don't understand 66% of that shit. Okay? And this is then your task to understand what the hell it means. Because once you invest that time in understanding, next time when you open the next tab, you will just say, yeah, now I understand 95% of them. That's a really good time. So please, 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 after this call, look at whatever you are doing, whatever is open on your computer, and just tell me how many of these do you understand. Okay? Any questions, Thomas, from anyone on the call? More comments?
I don't see any on YouTube yet.
Well, guys, in that case, sorry that it took a little bit longer, but I hope it was useful. I hope that you learned something, that you are not the only one who doesn't understand what the hell this means. Even if you're a developer for as many years as I am, you still don't understand. And the only thing you have to do is understand. Okay? Next thing, when you try to understand, is that you learn what you need to understand and what you can skip. Okay, so because understanding everything is ridiculous. Okay, so you will never get anything done if you try to understand everything. So to understand what is meaningful, what makes sense. Okay, because maybe this variant task locker, this variant, I don't ever need to understand this. It's whatever it is. I don't care. Okay, I don't have to understand why is this deflex between. Maybe I don't care about that. Okay, I don't have to understand that. So understanding what you need to understand in order to do, such as this store thing, such as why the hell are these constants. I think these are, so kind of figure out what is must understand. Okay. Anyway, guys, hope it was useful. Had fun. I did. Thank you, Thomas, for your part and help. And talk to you after holidays. So bye-bye for now.